let me see here. Hey, what are you guys doing here? This is mine in the bag. Get out of there. G'day guys, Oscar Fehlberg here. I'm going to do my in the bag today. Now I'm not a pro player, but I do throw a really mixed bag of discs from different companies, so it might be interesting for you other AM players out there. So a little bit about me. I am the guy who runs Cut Roll Media. I do the A-cam filming, all the editing, coordinating with TDs and other people who are filming, taking photos, just doing other things for Cut Roll Media, which, just a quick shout out, if you've helped Cut Roll Media in any way over the years, thank you so much. And remember everyone, like and subscribe. So I live in Melbourne where there are 3 courses. Stony Creek is my local one, which I helped set up with the council. It's a really small, short track. It's not the greatest course, but good for practice. I'm 930 rated player, 830 rated putter. I play in the MA1 Advanced Division, and I'm pretty 50-50 backhand and forehand. When I started out, I was definitely forehand dominant. Now I'm sort of 50-50, and I actually prefer throwing backhand. It's a little bit more consistent. Both have about the same distance, maxing out at around 115 meters, flat ground, no wind type situation. So let's get into the disc. Start with putters. Let's get on to the family of Yetis. This is what I putt with. The Innova Yeti Pro AVR. I carry usually 3 in my bag during tournaments. I'll have one disc or one Yeti that is really beat in. At the moment I have 2 of those, which is Blue Boy and Pincus. Blue Boy is probably the one disc I'll tell a little bit of a story about. I found Blue Boy actually in the Stony Creek, in the drains. I was cycling through there 3 or 4 years ago, back before I even knew the sport existed. I found this frisbee, threw it around, it was trash. I was like, this is the worst frisbee you could ever find. Why does it fly so badly? And I was like, it says disc golf on it though. You can't read that anymore. I was like, disc golf, that's such a weird thing. Talked to a friend, he knew about the sport. We went out and tried it, and I was kind of like, that's still a pretty trash sport. We went back to YouTube, looked up, that's how you throw. Went back to the course, and we're like, this is the best sport ever. And I'm completely addicted thanks to Blue Boy, who I still love to bag and throw. And yeah, I don't know why, but I've just stuck with Yeti Pro AVRs since I found him. And so these are my 2 understable putters. I like putting with them more than other discs. Sort of long putts really hold the straight line well, and for shorter putts I'll go to a more stable Yeti, one of the newer ones. So I've got Sterling, Swede and Colonel Mustard. My favorite combo at the moment has been Pincus, Sterling and Swede. I'll carry a 3rd Yeti for sort of warm-ups, and just if I need a maybe more stable approach shot, I'll go with the sort of fresher, more stable Yeti. I really like throwing Yetis as well as putting with them. They have a really straight flight, and once they beat in, they get this super nice straight flight with a really late flip. They're probably just my favorite disc to throw out of all discs that I carry. So that's actually the only true putter that I carry. It's all in the Yetis. I also carry a ESP Zone from Discraft. It's got this really cool 2018 Aussie Champ stamp from when it was in Canberra. 175 grams, really good feel in the ESP plastic, and that awesome overstability that the Zone is known for. Forehand upshots, backhand into headwinds, really trustable disc, and yeah, love it. Moving into mid-ranges, pretty much only carry mid-ranges for one shot, and one shot in particular, and that is the straight shot. For that, I carry 3 mid-ranges, and they're all 3 different molds by 3 different companies. It's pretty weird, I know, but the first one is the Prodigy M4. This is 180 grams, and I believe it's a 2013 run. And it's a really weird disc in that it is, the M4 is an understable disc. This is understable, but at the very end it just kind of dies and fades to the ground. I think it's 400G plastic, and it feels really good in the hand. It's got a little puddle top, and I think that also just means it just doesn't have that much glide, so it doesn't go that far, but it has this unique sort of slow turn and then a really slow fade at the end. Really good for straight shots, and it actually handles wind surprisingly well. Next up is the Mako 3 Champion, 175 grams. It's one of my favorite discs to throw. It is so laser beam straight for like those 80-meter shots that just never leaves the straight line. Tons of glide. Goes surprisingly far because of that. It doesn't handle the wind as well, so that's when I'll go to the M4, or if it's like more of a headwind, that is when I'll jump to the TI Buzz, this Nate Doss edition one, 175 grams. Buzz, I didn't really like them at first, but I realized that when it gets a little windy, this is the straight disc of choice for sure. Yeah, it's quite nice and stable, but really straight. The next disc in the mid-range slot is much more of a utility disc, Discraft ESP Archer, super understable. It has this crazy flip. You can throw it on quite a bit of hyzer, and it just through the whole flight, no matter what speed it's really thrown at, it kind of just keeps holding the flip, which is a really unique shot. Much more of a get out of trouble disc, but really fun to throw at least. On to Fairway Drivers, and this is where my bag has changed quite a lot lately. I have moved towards pretty much only bagging slow speed fairway drivers in that sort of 6 or 7 speed range, mostly because of this disc, which is a Star Leopard, but we'll start with the most unstable, which is this VIP Underworld. Crazy understable now. Hyzer flip shots. It's really a utility sort of get out of trouble shot disc, and if I need a roller that definitely gets down, this disc is the one. Back to the Leopard, it sort of taught me what a slow speed fairway driver can do. Like, it's so amazing. It's just a really slow fairway driver, but it goes really far, and it's faster than a mid-range, but it's just not that much different in flight characteristics from a mid-range. It is really straight. This is quite a stable Leopard, and really straight, really far, really controllable, and yeah, I love it. Next disc is the infamous Taco T-Bird, named as such because I got it wedged at Poimina in a tree super high up, and it was so wedged it just tacoed itself, and it stayed there for 5 days, and when it came down it stayed tacoed, and it took 2 weeks for it to untaco itself. It's now back to normal. Thanks Tim Bowen for finding this and getting it back to me. Last in the fairway driver slot is a disc that I depend on a ton. It is the Casterplast K1 style first run. It's just so dependable. Great in obviously the wind for hyzers. What I really like about this disc is that it falls in the same sort of category as an FD3 or a Firebird or one of those discs, but having thrown those discs previously, this disc seems to, when it hits the ground, it just stops. It digs, it checks up. So I throw it actually much less like a fairway driver and much more like a mid-range, because I just know it doesn't go that far, it doesn't fly that fast, but when it hits the ground, it checks up really nicely. Moving on to distance drivers, and we'll get on to Wraiths. Absolute favorite distance driver, just so consistent and dependable. I don't really feel like I shank with them that often because, I don't know, they just fit the hand really well, and I know what flight I'm going to get out of them pretty much every time. This is a bit of a broken Star Wraith, both 168 grams. This guy out of the box came pretty flippy, tons of glide. In tailwinds works really well. He's kind of the max distance disc if there's no wind. This guy is the more dependable, sort of all conditions, a little bit of wind, he's fine to go to. So he's the workhorse one. This one is the bomber one. But yeah, star rates, just awesome discs. The backups to those two, because I rely on them so much, I have to have backups. I have a Goldline Villain. I think this is 168 grams as well. It says it's an overstable long-range driver. Definitely not overstable. It's actually now a good roller disc for me, but it flies very similar to the Flippy Wraith. Back up to the more stable Wraith is this 2017 Glow Grim X from Caster Plus. K1 plastic in the glow. Really nice. Feels just so similar to a Wraith. It's actually amazing. It's a little more stable than my dependable Wraith, but very similar. So that's in the bag. Step up in stability from the Wraiths, but again, very similar feel is this Goldline Scythe. Finally found the slightly more stable edition than the Wraith, and I love the Scythe. It's not got as much glide, it doesn't go as far as the Wraith, feels very similar, very consistent, and it sort of flies no turn, but just a good solid fade, not crazy overstable dumping fade, just a nice dependable disc. Comes out in the wind for sure. This one's 166 grams. I had one prior to this that was 168 grams. It was so much better to throw, but this one's still good, and it's got the cool little Cherub Reaper stamp. Stepping up even further, this guy's gone in the bag, which is really unusual for me, but this is the Fourth Circle Taipan, which is a 13-speed driver. I generally don't carry high-speed drivers, but this is just the crazy overstable headwind, insane wind disc. Doesn't get thrown much, but it's there when I need it. And yeah, I think you gotta have something stupid overstable. So this is in the bag. Shout out to Reese. Lastly is a unique utility disc. This is a 150 gram MVP Motion, and this is really in the bag for one shot, and that is Spike Heiser's. It's 150 grams, but crazy overstable, so it's never gonna flip or do anything weird, but if I need to throw just straight up and over a tree, it's a saver because I have to throw it as hard to get it up and over. I know I can throw it high, especially for forehand. It means I'm not breaking my arm to have to throw it that high. So I really like having this disc just in the bag for that. Other things in the bag, well, of course we gotta have the #1 bag tag, because everyone loves bag tags. #1 Melbourne Disc Golf Club bag tag, because I'm that good. Another little random thing that I just like to carry is a film canister full of gold coins for ace pulls. Works really well. Alright, so that was my in the bag. Try to keep it short and sweet, and yeah. I hope you found it interesting. Thanks, guys.
Yes. Damn it.